Hello, second grade Smarties, and welcome to lesson 23 of Module 1, A Season of Change. So today, our pizza bite question for today is, what is the essential meaning of why do leaves change color? So yesterday we talked about important key terms that we could use to figure out the main idea, the main topic of our book, Why Do Leaves Change Color? Today we're going to be linking some of those key terms, meaning we're going to find how those key terms have things in common. How can we connect them to how and why leaves change colors? So we are going to be using those key terms to put the big picture together. We want to know, how do those key terms help us figure out the essential meaning or the main lesson of the book? Now, before we move on to our next slide, I want you to think about this question. Why is it important to know and understand the main topic of a book? Why do we need to know the main topic? Tell me in the puzzle, why do you think we have to know the main topic of a book? Because it puts the big picture in our head, right? If we understand the main topic, that means if we go to write about it, or if we go to talk to someone about this book, we can give them the main idea of the book. We can tell them all about the topic and the evidence to support that topic. So yesterday, we looked at this evidence chart. Well, this wasn't the evidence chart. This is the chart using those key terms that we learned about yesterday. We talked about chlorophyll, we talked about temperature and sunlight, pigments, leaves. The only one that I'm not seeing on here is water, but we talked about how leaves need that water and sunlight to make chlorophyll to bring that green color out. So we talked about how those key terms are helpful when learning about the main topic. This chart shows how these terms connect to show why leaves change color in fall. So on our next slide, we have some key terms that we learned about in this book. We learned about chlorophyll, leaves, change, temperature, the colors green and orange, water, pigments, sunlight, separate. Remember, that means to take apart from something. Yellow and absorb. Absorb means to take something in, to let it soak in. So here are the key. So these are all the key terms that we learned about. Miss Mason's trying to multitask. So what are some of the words in here? What are two words that we can link up? Link up means to connect. What are some words that can connect together? So for example, temperature and sunlight connect because the change in sunlight and temperature causes the leaves to change color. So let's look at another example. How can we connect the color orange to pigments? How can we link those together? What is pigment another word for? It's another word for color. So orange and pigment can link up because we see the orange pigments in some leaves come out during fall. What about chlorophyll and green? How could those two link up or connect? Think about chlorophyll. What is chlorophyll? It's what makes the leaves green. So chlorophyll is that substance that makes the leaves that bright green color. How do leaves and separate work together? What does a leaf separate from? What do leaves move away from in the fall? Tell me in the puzzle. Leaves separate from trees at the end of fall. Why do they separate from trees? Because the trees have got all that food from the leaves and it's getting ready for winter. And what about leaves? What do leaves absorb during the spring and summer? What do they take in during the summer? What is shining in the sky that can help leaves grow and make that chlorophyll? Tell me in the puzzle. Leaves absorb sunlight. That means to take in that sunlight. So, all of these key terms, we can link them together. Now, some do not go together, right? So maybe let's think. So yellow and temperature. So the word yellow and temperature aren't going to mix together, right? But we could say yellow and sunlight because when leaves get less sunlight during the day, those yellow pigments start to come out in the leaves. So some of these words do not mix together. They don't connect together to help us understand why leaves change color, but it can help us put an idea of what the main topic is. So we have read this book 3 times, and we have talked about how those key terms can help us understand the main topic of our book. So this evidence organizer shows how the key terms fit into the changes of leaves in each season. Our key terms help us understand the main topic. So, the central message is that leaves change color because of the changes in weather and sunlight. So, remember at the beginning of the book, so first, we learned that leaves during spring and summer get lots of sun and water. And when it gets that sun and water, leaves make chlorophyll. And the leaves are very green from that chlorophyll because the chlorophyll absorbs the sun, air, and water and brings out those bright green colors. Then we learn later that when fall comes, there's lots of changes in the weather and there's changes in how much sunlight is up and around us during the day. So in the fall, we start to see less sunlight and the air is starting to get cooler. Some of the leaves separate from trees, right? So they gave the tree all the food that it could give, and some leaves separate and some leaves stay on the tree, but they're less green because of that less sunlight. Finally, when the chlorophyll has left the leaf, the pigments of orange and yellow and red can appear. What happens after the leaf is finished giving the tree all that sugary food? What do the leaves do? Tell me in the puzzle. They fall off the tree. When they fall off the tree, do they still get that food and the sun and the water that it needs? No, so they start to rot on the ground. So the leaves help trees prepare for winter. Remember, leaves use that food from the trees use the food from the leaves to help prepare it for winter because during the winter we see less and less sunlight and the temperatures are very cold. Only in some places, not all places. So, when we are thinking about this book, why do leaves change color? We can think about how those leaves go through changes during the changes of seasons. So, in every season, leaves change to help the tree, right? So, if we are going to answer a question, how does weather impact leaves in fall? We are going to use our evidence from our evidence chart, and we use some of those important key terms: chlorophyll, sun, water, leaves, sunlight, orange and yellow. We're going to use those key terms to help us write an informational paragraph. Now, we are not writing the informational paragraph until tomorrow. So it's really important that you listen to this part. So open up your ears. Here we go. So we are going to be adding another sentence to our informational writing. We have written informational paragraphs with a topic statement, Remember, the topic statement answers the question, and our 3 juicy details that support our topic statement. This time, we are going to have a conclusion. Remember, conclusions tell us again what we said in our topic statement. The topic statement and the conclusion go together. It helps the reader get the main idea of the paragraph. So, when we are writing this informational paragraph, we need to make sure that our evidence follows what this topic statement says, right? So we want to make sure that if we are answering the question, how does the weather impact leaves? We need to make sure that our evidence is talking about what? It's talking about leaves, right? And how the changes in weather change leaves. So we are going to be writing an informational paragraph tomorrow. And we are going to be using our evidence chart to help us give the evidence in the middle of our informational paragraph. Now, Miss Mason's going to help you out with the topic statement because today, or for this task, we are just focusing on making sure that we can create a conclusion. We already know how to make a topic statement. Remember, a topic statement answers the question that we are trying to answer. We know how to give evidence, those juicy details. This week, we are focusing on how to make a conclusion to our informational paragraph. So let's look at what Miss Mason's got going on right now. It says we have our evidence in the chart, but we need the topic statement and the conclusion. Both sentences need to answer the question. So the topic statement and conclusion answers the question, how does weather impact leaves in fall? Now, Miss Mason has made an example down here. Okay, the blank in weather impacts blank during fall. What happens to weather during the seasons? They change. So the changes in weather impact, what would go here? I see weather impact. Tell me on the ed puzzle, what word is going to go here? The changes in weather impact leaves during fall. So we answered that question with our topic statement. The changes in weather impact leaves during fall. Now our evidence is going to match, it's going to connect to our topic statement. So first, we're going to talk about how leaves have that color green during the summer and spring. So that's the first way that weather impacts leaves. So first, we're going to talk about how leaves get their green color. We have our evidence chart right here. So leaves get lots of sun and water and make chlorophyll to get that green color. There's evidence number 1. Then we talk about the change from summer to fall. What happens to our sunlight in the fall? Then there is less sunlight in fall and the weather gets cooler. Finally, what happens to the leaves during fall? Finally, leaves lose that green color and other colors come out in the leaves with less sunlight. So remember, our evidence needs to go in order of how it happens, and it needs to stick with what we said in our topic statement. So then we have our conclusion. Remember, our conclusion and our topic statement are going to match. They're going to match together. So blank has a big impact on blank. Our topic statement said that weather impacts leaves during fall. So how would I complete the sentence? Leaves has a big impact on weather, or weather has a big impact on leaves? Which one would make sense for the conclusion? Leaves has a big impact on weather, or weather has a big impact on leaves? Choose which one would make the most sense with our informational paragraph. All right, second grade Smarties, that is it for today. I can't wait to work on these informational paragraphs with you. Remember, with our informational paragraphs, we need a topic statement, 3 sentences with the juicy evidence, and that conclusion that wraps up our writing. All right, second grade Smarties, as always, keep that growth mindset. Good learners do hard things, and it's okay to make mistakes. All right, guys, happy learning, and I will see you tomorrow with another lesson. Bye, guys.